Hey everyone, and welcome. We're diving into a career path that's got you intrigued, budget analyst, and honestly, going through these RoleCatcher resources with you, it's got me pretty curious too. So we're ditching those stuffy job descriptions and getting into the real deal. What does it actually take to not just survive, but thrive as a budget analyst? Lucky for us, we've got our expert here who can connect all the dots and uncover the why behind all the financial stuff.
What I find really exciting about this field is it's so much more than just, the numbers. It's about strategy, it's about influence, really being a key player in shaping an organization's financial, future, its destiny even.
Okay, see, that's already got me hooked. RoleCatcher's career guide, it kind of paints budget analysts as these financial guardians, right? Like they're making sure spending's on track, budgets are met, everything's playing by the rules, all those legal regulations. Sounds like a lot of responsibility.
Absolutely, yeah. There's a lot of weight on their shoulders for sure.
But here's what really jumped out at me. It's this blend of hard and soft skills, which isn't what I pictured. We're talking data analysis, financial software, sure, but then also communication, problem solving, even active listening, not what I expected for a number crunching kind of role. What's the story there?
It's crucial because, well, think about it. Finance is getting more complex every day, right? Globalization, all this tech, markets going up and down. Budget analysts are right there in the thick of it, analyzing, spotting trends. And then they've got to turn all that into something everyone else can grasp.
So they're like translators almost.
Exactly. They bridge the gap between complex financial stuff and the people making the big decisions.
Bridging the gap. I like that. Speaking of which, RoleCatcher also maps out the career path itself, starting entry level and working your way up. Entry level, it seems like you're really in the trenches, getting hands-on with monitoring spending, creating reports, all that good stuff.
Right, you're building that foundation.
Yeah. Then, as you progress, you're developing budgets, you're forecasting, talk about high impact. But what really caught my eye in RoleCatcher's functions and core abilities section was some of the skills they listed. Persuasion, negotiation, even systems analysis. It's not just about being a math whiz.
Nope, not at all. It's like, imagine a budget as this big puzzle. A good budget analyst, they don't just see the pieces. They see how it all fits together, how one decision over here impacts the whole financial ecosystem. And those unexpected skills, that's what lets them influence strategy, navigate, office politics even, and make sure their insights actually turn into action.
So it's like being a financial detective, but also a diplomat and strategist all in one. That's pretty cool. And speaking of shaking things up, we can't ignore the tech elephant in the room, right? AI is everywhere these days. RoleCatcher's really upfront about how AI is transforming recruitment, even in finance. They've even got these tools to help candidates tailor resumes and applications to get noticed by the AI gatekeepers, which is wild. So is AI a friend or foe for someone aiming for that budget analyst title?
It's the million-dollar question these days, isn't it? Honestly, it's not about picking a side. It's about figuring out how to work with AI. Think of RoleCatcher's AI as your secret weapon. It analyzes those job descriptions to pinpoint the exact skills companies are looking for. So you know what the AI prioritizes, and you can tailor your application to match. It's like having a direct line to the hiring manager.
So instead of fearing it, use it to your advantage.
Exactly.
But of course, getting your foot in the door is just the first step, right? RoleCatcher talks a lot about interview prep, and they've got this massive question bank with thousands of possibilities, all categorized by skill and career path. They even offer AI-powered feedback on your answers. So what are some things that really make someone stand out in an interview for this role? Beyond just knowing the technical stuff, what are hiring managers really looking for?
They want to see you can handle those curveball questions, Remember, it's not just about crunching numbers. It's about thinking on your feet, making judgment calls under pressure. Imagine you're asked about a time you had to make a tough budget cut. It's not enough to just say what you did. You've got to explain your thought process. What factors did you consider? How did you communicate that tough decision? That's where those soft skills, critical thinking, communication, good judgment, really shine through.
It's about showing you can not only do the job, but handle the pressure that comes with it. When it comes to soft skills specifically, what really sets a budget analyst apart from the crowd? Is it staying cool as a cucumber under pressure, being a master negotiator? What have you seen?
Those are important for sure. But remember, budget analysts often act as internal consultants. They've got to present financial data in a way that's clear, convincing, so they can influence those big decisions. So strong communication, both written and verbal, that's non-negotiable. But even more important, especially now with everyone collaborating, is building relationships.
Mhm.
You're not just working with numbers, you're working with people.
It's like being a financial therapist for an organization, helping it understand its own financial health.
I like that.
So to sum it up, being a budget analyst, it's way more than just being a spreadsheet guru. You need those analytical skills, absolutely. But to really excel, you need adaptability, strong communication, and that strategic mindset. You got to tell the story behind the numbers.
Exactly. It's about connecting the dots between the numbers and the people. And that leads us to something crucial, the human side of finance. Because budgets aren't just numbers. They represent resources, priorities, how we use those things to reach our goals. That's where a budget analyst's impact really is.
I'm starting to see this career in a whole new light. It's easy to get caught up in the technical stuff, but you're right, they have a hand in shaping how organizations function, how they use their resources, what kind of impact they have on the world. That's a lot of responsibility.
It is, no doubt. But it's also an incredible opportunity. An opportunity to not only help an organization succeed, but potentially make a difference in other people's lives too.
Hmm.
And that honestly is what makes this career path so rewarding. And that impact, you see it across so many different fields.
It's like healthcare, education, even something as cool as space exploration. You name it, there's a budget analyst behind the scenes making sure those funds are used wisely.
Absolutely. Making
Oh.
sure every dollar counts, that's their superpower.
And speaking of superpowers, RoleCatcher mentioned how the budget analyst role itself is like leveling up. It's not just about knowing the latest software, it's a whole new set of skills and qualities that are becoming essential. They highlighted things like systems analysis, critical thinking, even customer and personal service. It's like a whole different ballgame now.
Yeah. And it shows how work in general is changing. It's less about, checking off tasks on a list and more about understanding the bigger picture, how everything's connected.
Right, like a web.
Exactly. Budget analysts need that broad view, seeing how all the departments rely on each other, working smoothly with all kinds of people. Those skills you mentioned, like systems analysis, critical thinking, that customer service mindset, those are what connect the dots. They help turn financial insights into real-world decisions.
So they're like internal consultants, right? Helping organizations figure out how to run smoothly and efficiently. And that's got to be where those people skills are super important, being able to communicate your ideas and get everyone on board.
Exactly. Imagine a budget analyst uncovers this amazing cost-saving idea or a smart investment that could lead to huge growth.
Mm.
If they can't communicate those findings in a way that clicks with the people in charge, well, like those insights don't even exist.
It's all about getting buy-in.
Right. Honing those communication and presentation skills,
Yeah.
that's huge for anyone who's serious about moving up in this field.
So it's kind of like being a financial storyteller in a way. You're taking those numbers, those spreadsheets, and turning them into something that's not just informative, but engaging, maybe even a little inspiring.
Ooh, I like that analogy. A good storyteller, they don't just throw facts at you. They create an experience. They make you feel something.
You walk away remembering it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of magic a budget analyst needs when they're presenting a budget, explaining a financial statement, or advocating for a strategy. They've got to capture their audience, make them understand why it matters, and then ultimately inspire them to take action.
Which brings up an interesting point, understanding how people make decisions. Because let's be real, not everyone gets excited about spreadsheets or financial reports. How do you effectively communicate with stakeholders who might not be financially savvy?
That's where emotional intelligence comes in. A good budget analyst knows that decisions aren't just based on logic, right? They're influenced by emotions, by values, even past experiences. It's about tailoring your communication, finding common ground, framing those insights in a way that resonates. So instead of drowning them in numbers, you might use visuals, tell a story, even give real-life examples to make the information relatable.
So you're almost like a translator again, bridging that gap between the world of finance and how people actually make decisions.
Exactly. Being able to connect on that human level, understand what motivates people, what worries them. That's what sets those top-notch budget analysts apart. And as this role keeps evolving, as finance gets more complex, that ability is only going to become more valuable.
We've talked a lot about the skills, but let's get into the career path itself. RoleCatcher gave a really good breakdown of each stage, from entry level all the way up to those senior positions. So someone just starting out, what can they realistically expect as they progress?
It's a journey For sure, but it can be incredibly rewarding, both professionally and personally. It all starts with that entry-level budget analyst role.
Yeah.
This is where you're laying the groundwork, mastering the fundamentals, developing that laser focus. You're probably assisting more experienced analysts, maybe preparing reports, gathering data, just getting a feel for how the budget process works in that specific company.
It's like a financial apprenticeship almost.
That's a great way to put it. And RoleCatcher mentioned that this stage often involves a lot of hands-on work with financial software and data analysis tools. So being comfortable with technology, that's a major plus right out of the gate.
Tech skills are essential these days.
100%. Today's budget analysts need to be comfortable with spreadsheets, databases, budgeting software, all of it. And it's not just about plugging in data, it's about analyzing it, finding those trends, and presenting it clearly.
And then as you move up to junior and senior analyst positions, I'm guessing those tech skills become even more critical. You're handling more responsibility, bigger budgets, maybe even leading a team.
That's right. As you climb that career ladder, you're not just managing data anymore, you're interpreting it, pulling out those key insights, and using them to drive strategic decisions. You might be tasked with long-term financial forecasts, risk assessments, even advising on things like mergers and acquisitions. We're talking high-stakes stuff that requires a deep understanding of financial principles, industry trends, and the ability to think on your feet.
So you go from being a data whiz to a full-blown financial strategist. And that takes more than just technical expertise at that point, right?
Or for sure, you need that big picture thinking. Understanding how departments and markets are interconnected, being able to communicate effectively with people at all levels of the company, it's a whole other skill set.
It's like you're conducting the orchestra of an organization's finances, making sure everything works in harmony.
I love that analogy. That's a great way to put it. Because at the end of the day, a budget is more than just a spreadsheet. It's a roadmap, a tool for making those big decisions, a reflection of what an organization values. A skilled budget analyst understands that their role isn't just about balancing the books, it's about shaping the future.
It's about understanding that those financial decisions have a real impact, both on the organization and the people it serves.
Exactly.
That sense of purpose of contributing to something larger than yourself, that's got to be incredibly rewarding.
It really is. It's about finding solutions that make financial sense and are ethically sound.
Oh.
It's about using your skills to make a real difference, which is a pretty amazing feeling.
Absolutely. And it's something that anyone considering this path should be excited about. But of course, landing that dream job, especially these days, it takes more than just enthusiasm. It requires a strategic approach, a standout resume, and of course, acing those interviews. And that's where RoleCatcher comes in with their tools and resources.
Right. Their platform is seriously a game changer for job seekers. They've got everything from AI-powered resume builders to a huge library of practice interview questions. It's like having a personal career coach in your back pocket.
Speaking of guidance, one thing that really impressed me about RoleCatcher was their emphasis on interview prep. They have this massive database of potential interview questions, all organized by skill and career path. They even offer AI-powered feedback on your answers. That's incredible.
It's such a valuable tool. I mean, everyone gets nervous for interviews, right?
Yeah.
But practicing your answers, getting that feedback, it helps you refine your approach. You walk into that interview feeling so much more confident and prepared.
There's no substitute for preparation. And those questions, they can be anything from technical stuff like explain accrual versus cash basis accounting to behavioral ones like tell me about a time you had to make a difficult budget cut. You got to be ready for anything.
Exactly. And that's where RoleCatcher's question bank and AI feedback are so helpful. They not only expose you to a wide range of potential questions, but also help you tailor your answers to the specific company and role you're going for.
It's like having a cheat sheet, but, you know, in a good way. In the end, an interview is all about telling your story, showing why you're the perfect fit. And with the right tools and that prep work, you can walk into that room feeling confident and ready to impress. Now, we've covered a lot, but there's one more aspect of the budget analyst role we should touch on: technology. The finance world is evolving so quickly, and to stay ahead of the curve, you've got to be tech-savvy and adaptable. It's like the finance world's on digital. What are some advancements that anyone who wants to be a budget analyst should have on their radar?
Well, it definitely varies, depending on the industry and the company, but some core technologies are becoming pretty standard across the board.
Okay, so like what's the big one?
Cloud-based accounting software is huge.
Okay, so like what does that actually do for a budget analyst?
Think about it, being able to access financial data from anywhere, collaborating on the fly with colleagues, And my favorite, automating all those tedious tasks that used to take forever. It's a game changer.
No more spreadsheets upon spreadsheets.
Well, I wouldn't say that, but it definitely frees up budget analysts to focus on the bigger picture. You know, analyzing the data, looking for those trends, and figuring out how to boost financial performance.
So it's like working smarter, not harder.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Another big one is data analytics. And honestly, this is huge with big data just exploding these days. Budget analysts have access to more information than ever before. But it's not just about having it, it's about making sense of it all.
Right, because what good is a mountain of data if you don't know what it means?
Exactly. And that's where data analytics tools come in. Imagine being able to slice and dice data, uncover hidden patterns, and generate insights that you just couldn't get before.
It's like you're a financial detective with, like, superpowered glasses.
That's a great way to put it.
We talked about AI and how it's changing how people get hired, but I'm guessing it's also changing how budget analysts actually do their jobs, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
AI can automate a lot of those repetitive tasks we talked about, like data entry and generating reports. That frees up a ton of time for the really important stuff, analysis and strategy.
So instead of spending hours on data entry, you can let the AI handle that while you focus on the bigger picture.
Exactly. And think about it. AI can also be used to model different budget scenarios or identify potential risks and opportunities. That's huge
It's like having an AI crystal ball for your finances.
in a way. But even with all this amazing tech, those human skills we talked about are still absolutely essential.
Right, so don't toss out those communication and people skills just yet.
Not a chance. Technology is a tool, that's all it is. It's still up to us humans to interpret the data, put it in context, and make sure we're making ethical decisions. Which reminds me, ethical considerations are absolutely crucial for a budget analyst.
Oh, right, because they're dealing with sensitive financial info and often advising on decisions that affect, like, real people's lives.
Exactly. Integrity is non-negotiable in this role.
It's about more than just numbers. It's about doing what's right.
100%. A good budget analyst is always asking, what are we trying to achieve as an organization? What are our values? How can we use these resources ethically and responsibly?
They're like the financial conscience of an organization. Speaking of which, one thing that's really stood out is how this role can really align with someone's personal values. RoleCatcher mentioned that too.
Yeah, absolutely. That's something I really love about this career path. It's not just a job, it's a chance to actually make a difference.
So, like, let's say someone's passionate about education or the environment, whatever it is they care about. They can find a budget analyst role that contributes to that.
Exactly. That sense of purpose, knowing your work has real impact, that's incredibly motivating. And honestly, it's something a lot of people are looking for in their careers these days.
That's so true. So for anyone listening who's feeling fired up about this whole budget analyst path, what advice would you give them as they start out?
Be bold, be curious, and never ever stop learning. Embrace the challenges, keep seeking out new knowledge, and don't be afraid to ask questions, even the dumb ones.
There's no such thing.
Exactly. And remember, the best budget analysts, they bridge that gap between the numbers and the people. They bring their humanity, their integrity, and their passion to everything they do.
That is such great advice. And on that note, we're going to wrap up our deep dive into the world of budget analysts. A huge thanks to you for joining us on this journey, and a special thanks to our expert for, well, being an expert. We hope you found this deep dive insightful, maybe inspiring, and who knows, maybe it even sparked a little career change for some of you. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep into the things that matter to you most.